Storage facilities was hit by Iranian drones. Our correspondent Nick Beek sent this report from Dubai.
The latest Iranian targets in America's sights, smashed from the skies. This is Hagg Island, just off the coast of Iran, and the lifeblood of its economy. It looked like this in calmer times. 90% of Iran's oil exports pass through here, the vast majority of it going to China. The US says it's only hit military targets, not the oil, but may do so if Iran keeps striking commercial ships in the Strait of Hormuz. President Trump wants the likes of the UK, France, even China to send warships to allow the route to reopen. Iran claims it's only shut to its enemies.
As a matter of fact, the Strait of Hormuz is open. It is only closed to the tankers and ships belong to our enemies.
There are reports that more American ships, including the USS Tripoli, are on their way to the Middle East, bringing thousands of Marines who could be used in a ground attack. In the Iranian capital Tehran, a funeral today for a senior figure killed alongside the former supreme leader 2 weeks ago. And for the people of Iran, there's no respite from the US and Israeli attacks, as these residents in Tehran told BBC Persian.
I was trying to sleep and woke up to the sound of explosions.
Something exploded nearby and it shook the house to the core. It was never like this. My heart was pounding.
I didn't go out at all. It seemed to be such a dangerous day.
President Trump says the US has already obliterated the Iranian military, but he's raising the stakes by now striking at a site that's so vital to Iran's oil industry, its wider economy, and possibly the survival of the government. And Iran has hit back, and it sent a fresh warning here to the United Arab Emirates for people living in cities to stay well away from American sites and interests wherever they may be. The port of Fujairah on the east coast of the UAE, one of the biggest oil storage facilities in the Middle East, hit by a drone today as Iran tries to undermine Western economies. In Iraq, the US embassy in Baghdad was hit by a missile. This one of the biggest American diplomatic facilities in the world. But the US and partners say they're intensifying their war.
The global and regional struggle against Iran, led by the US President Donald Trump and the Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, is ramping up and entering the decisive stretch that will continue as long as necessary.
It's been a fortnight of Middle East conflict that's drawn in so many countries from around the world, with none confident of where this goes next. Nick Beek, BBC News, Dubai.
Lebanon says an Israeli strike in the south of the country has killed 12 medical workers, including doctors and nurses. Israel has accused the Iran-backed Hezbollah group of using health facilities and ambulances for military purposes. From Beirut, Wira Davis reports.
Barely recognisable as the medical centre it once was. Lebanese health officials said 12 doctors, nurses and paramedics were killed in this Israeli strike in the southern town of Burj Kalawia. Israel has accused Hezbollah of using medical facilities for military purposes, a justification rejected by staff here. The team who worked here were volunteers providing services to civilian patients, says Mayor Mohammed Noor El-Din. Israel hit the building like this so no one would survive. From its expanded exclusion zone in the south to suburbs of southern Beirut that some say now resemble Gaza, Israeli airstrikes are intensifying across Lebanon. And in the eastern Bekaa Valley, more twisted metal and masonry in the ruins of a family home. A strike which, according to survivors, hit as relatives gathered for their iftar meal. This was clearly a Hezbollah-supporting household. There are flags, even a picture of the late Ayatollah Khomeini. But did that in itself justify this massive bombing and the killing of an extended family of 8, including several children? Israel later said there were Hezbollah operatives at the house. But a surviving uncle said that nothing could warrant such action, apparently without warning.
Israel is wrong if they think that killing children and civilians will separate us from the resistance. On the contrary, it makes us more loyal to them. I'm even more steadfast in my support now than I was before.
As with many incidents, some facts are still unclear, others are painfully obvious. Tonight, diplomatic efforts are belatedly being made to stop an escalation into full-scale war. Laura Davis, BBC News in the Bekaa Valley.
Well, the war in Iran is having a huge impact on the cost of energy. The Chancellor, Rachel Reeves, is expected to offer support to households struggling with higher heating oil costs. She told the Times newspaper that she'd found the money to help and that the Treasury was looking at different options. Here's our business correspondent, Mark Ashdown.
Almost two-thirds of homes in Northern Ireland rely on heating oil. Unlike gas and electricity, there's no price cap, so costs can be extremely volatile.
Very expensive, you know, it's at the stage now where it's nearly cheaper to go into work instead of work from home rather than heat your house.
I have pensioners around me who have health issues, worried sick about turning on their oil heating.
In Berkshire, Alistair placed an order for oil for his tank last week to try and beat price rises. It cost him just under £300. But days later, the company cancelled it. The new price is about 3 times higher.
In the past, normally if you buy at a high price and the market drops, you're still committed and you pay the higher price. But it doesn't seem to be reciprocated from the oil providers.
In an interview today with The Times, Rachel Reeves said she had found the money to help people who are not protected by Ofgem's energy price cap. She said greater support would be given to those who really need it.
We're looking at cost of living crisis and we're looking at families having to choose between feeding their children and heating their homes. We're seeing some real concerns about children's emotional and physical well-being, so we welcome any kind of solution.
The ongoing conflict in the Middle East is also causing concern about the cost of petrol and diesel.
At a meeting with ministers yesterday, fuel retailers insisted that price gouging, where the cost of petrol and diesel is suddenly pushed up, is not happening. The competition watchdog is investigating, though. Now, there is an online fuel finder government tool now, so you can compare live prices and find the cheapest fuel near you. But there are concerns that if this squeeze on oil continues, that could hit supplies here and push the cost of filling up even higher.
A 5p cut to fuel duty, in place since 2022, is set to be phased out in September, but the Prime Minister now says that's under review. Household energy bills are set to fall next month after changes to government policy. However, prices remain about a third higher than before the Ukraine war, and this latest conflict could send bills higher yet. Mark Ashdown, BBC News.
Well, I'm joined by Jonathan Beale, our defence correspondent. Jonathan, President Trump has issued this appeal to allies for more warships in the region. What are we to make of that?
Well, you remember last week there was speculation that the Royal Navy might send a carrier to the region. And his response was America didn't need it because it had already won the war. And then today you have him appealing to a number of countries, including the UK, including China, which opposes this war, to send